Right, so I am back after my PlayStation decided to explode, which is not a good sign. Right, and that seems to be qualifying, done and dusted. And it seems to be Remco Sweet Susan P1, followed by James Wiggins in P2, Paul Hutchinson P3, Yeast P4, Kieran Purnell in P5, Rob Cripps in P6, Jason Bruner in P7, Racer Waster in P8, The Black Jeebus in P9, Cian Hodgson in P10, Paul Cross in P11, Peter Slushy in P12, I have no idea who you are, P13, and Philip Rainford has decided not to qualify because he's too quick. And we're just going to have a little recess just before we start, just to give the drivers a chance to put the right tyres on. It's very quiet now about the music, actually. I turned the music off, and it's eerily quiet now in this game. Just have a look at the qualifying here. As Remco goes P1, Yeast actually had P2 in the end, so he obviously got a lap off just before we finished up. Then James in third, Paul is going to be in fourth, Kieran in fifth, Rob sixth, Jason seventh, Racer Waster eighth, Aaron in ninth, Cian in 10th, Philip in 11th. No, that's Paul, sorry. That's Paul. Then Peter. Then who the hell Vax Marastra is, and then Philip. And the weather looks clear enough today as well. And we're about to get under racing here, as I did with the settings on time. And there will be a false start as always. As remember, we're going to see a lot of drivers starting the mediums. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights, and we will get underway for round 4. And it looks like Rembo has a terrible start, and Paul has just sailed by him. Yeast as well. Kieran Purnell also making a position. It looks like James Wiggins as well. And it's going to be a big sandwich here as we head into turn 1. Let's see who survives these opening skirmishes here. Paul Hutchinson's leading the way. Kieran Purnell in P2. James Wiggins in P3. Yeast P4. It looks like some driver went on the grass. There could have been Remco. Looks like we're all getting away quite nicely there at the start. Business Duck leading the way. James Wiggins and Kieran Purnell going side by side into turn 4, I think it is. And that has compromised them, the drivers behind. As we're right on board with Yeast here, and that stupid music's come online now. Ah! It's all going on now at the moment. Here with Aaron Hyland giving Rob and Remco a hard time. It's very hard to overtake in this part of the track here. You've got to be very careful as there's contact between Yeast and James Wiggins. Wiggins is around. Oh my god, it's just chaos all over the shop here. And he's going to drop a load of places, probably to the back of the grid. Paul Hutchinson's gotten away very cleanly here. Yeast keeping P3, but he's driving very hard here. Not taking any prisoners this evening by the looks of it. And Paul Hutchinson already 3.7 seconds clear. Nearly 4 seconds in that beautiful NSX. Around the final corner he goes. Kieran in his Nissan GTR. And just look at the speed that GT1 has. It's just an absolute rocket ship on the straights. Nothing you can do there, as Kieran's not going to give this one up just yet. Tries a little switchback here. GT1 is quick on the straights, however, it is slow in the corners, as you can see here. And Remco now sending it on the inside of Kieran. Further down the field, we see Rob and 90s Raver battling it out. Kieran and Remco are going to be battling it out now as well. Side by side, they go into the second sector. Kieran setting a purple sector 2 on this lap 2 of 23. Further down the field, where has James Wiggins come out? He's come out P13 after all that chaos, unfortunately for them. There may be a steward's inquiry after the race. You see Mr. Knifes and Black Jeep is fighting. They've already been fighting in Tier 2, sorry, and they're continuing that good fight up here. Baxmaster in P10 at the moment. Racer in P9. Rob Cripps in P8. Keane Hodgson in P7 currently. Niggs doing very well. But further back up the field, it's going to be a straight up shooter fight now between Yeast and the Business Duck. 4 seconds is the gap after the initial skirmishes. So Yeast has set the fastest lap of the race so far with a 1:34.847. Just about half a tenth quick, or just over half a tenth quicker than Business Duck. As the race begins to settle down here, Paul having it his own way at the moment. Let's see who's on the softs. So Philip Rainford's on the softs here. He's up for this time. He needs to get past Remco if he wants to make the use of most of those soft tyres. Rob on the mediums. Aaron Hyland on the softs as well. So it looks like, and Mr. Nice, Paul Cross, and the rest of the field, it appears, is on the mediums. The gap now 4.3 seconds, 4.4 seconds. So Paul clearly quicker in the middle third of this track. Kieran now nicely motoring along here in P3 at the moment. Doesn't seem to be having too much problems. 90s Raver Jason and Remco are fighting here. And in comes Niggs out of nowhere! Is there a bit of a wobble there between himself and Remco, but everyone looks to be reasonably okay. No one's spun around. Audacious dive there from the Tier 2 driver. Great stuff. Up to P5. And that's given Jason the chance just to get away. A bit of a gap. And now the gap is still the same. It's 4.1 seconds, so being kept reasonably in the same lap of the race. So these two going back and forth out with a 1:34.4. He's 4 tenths slower that last lap. Kieran almost 2 seconds off the pace of them though. Nobody else in the 1:34s from what we can see. Remco yet again going at it. Mr. Philip Rainford and Remco Smeets. It's the Netherlands versus the UK here. Elects not to make a move this time. He tries to sell the dummy, I think, there. Gets a very good exit though. And you can just see how tight and narrow this track is here, especially in this part of it. There isn't a lot of wiggle room here. One false move. Remco has a bit of a wobble there. It's going to compromise him. He seems to be gaining time. The lobby. The driver's behind, waiting to make up some positions. Further back of the field, the gap is still the same, but another solid lap there. These two drivers, nothing to separate them at all at the moment in pace-wise. Both setting near identical laps is what you want to see. Kieran has Jason for company at the moment, but apart from that, the two in front have just gapped him. Over 5 seconds is the gap now. As Jason's going to make a move here, bit of a push to pass, doesn't get the move to stick though. That's going to compromise Kieran to the drivers in front. What can Jason do here? We're going to ride on board of him as he heads into Sector 2 now. Jason was 4 tenths quicker this last lap than Kieran. That's going to play a big part in the proceedings. Now the drivers behind are going to look to capitalise on these two fighting and bridge that delta. Make it a bit lower into the heavy braking zone in Sector 2 now. There we go. About having the optimal line here. That's not the best of corners there by Jason, and Kieran's going to gain some time as a result of that. But you can easily gain it back here in this heavy braking zone, which leads up to a near mile straight, I'd say. And look at that. Jason's gained over 2 tenths there, 3 tenths. And he's going to have the slipstream here from Kieran. How much is he going to gain? He said at 136.5. Kieran said at 136.9. Still plenty in this. Remco also arriving on the scene here, approaching. Same with Philip. Rob waiting in the wings behind too. James Wiggins is making a recovery drive at the moment. He was down to P13 I think at one point. Now back up to P9. It's good stuff from them after a disastrous lap 1 lap 1 incident. James is in the thick of it now. He needs to get past these drivers if he has any chance of making up some ground here. But it's not going to be. It's going to be easier said than done, I fear. Could get past Waster here on the start-finish straight. He's got a slipstream. He's going to go for here now as well. He's going to have the outside line here. And these are going to go side by side into turn 1. There's a bit of a wobble there, there's a bit of contact as well, that compromises the two of them. Rob makes the position on James as a result of that, gets past both of them. And now he's up to P7. Further up the field, Business stuck, and he's still fighting it out. Now 5 seconds is the gap. Seems to be the main battle at the moment. There's a collection of drivers here. There's a collection of drivers behind as well, as James is kind of falling off the pace ever so slightly to Rob. Rob on a mission here, hunting down Philip. Nothing to separate these two here. You just hear that NSX purring. That corner is all about being brave. You can make up half a second there if you're brave enough. As Remco moves a tiny bit under braking there. That wasn't the cleanest thing we've seen all day. These are going to go side by side into the last corner. Just about, they're not. And is Philip going to make the move on Remco? He's going to be on the outside here. More contact between these two here. Everyone seems to be reasonably okay. This just plays into Rob's hands because he can just watch these two fight, and when they make a mistake, he'll capitalise on it. Similar to what happened between James and Remco, I believe. Or James and Jason, I think it was. And Phil's actually just gone wide. I'm not sure if there was contact or there was desync in the lobby. Let's Rob up to P6 now. Now, he's just gaining time on Business Stuck since the last time we checked in. Just now under 5 seconds is difference. I think Paul might have had a bad lap there so far. Yeah, he definitely is. A bit of a stormer so far. Look at how he just really throws the car into that corner. That's what you can do with that NSX. Which you necessarily can't do other cars in the GR2 category. And he seems to be just getting a much better exit out of that final corner. Now the gap, 9.3 seconds to get. Right, I think it's just 9.6 seconds is the gap between Reese and Kieran. Oh, we see the pack of Jason, Remco, Rob, Phil, and James following closely enough behind. So there's not a whole lot in it between, say, the top three, or my phone dropped, between P3 and P8 or 9, so it's pretty close, that we like to see. A few drivers a bit far off the pace. Peter's mowing the grass. Cian is a bit off as well. See here, riding on board with Paul Hutchinson. Everything's just on the limit, on the edge. Really pushing along here now. Just get such a good exit out of that final corner. Those medium tyres don't look to be degrading at all, so that's a good sign for them. Still setting consistent 134s here. Easton's pits early, so he's going to try the undercut here. He's got that bigger tank of fuel as well, so he can do that. And he's going to stick on the soft compound tires. The only problem he might have is he might have to get through the pack. As we're just riding on board with Business Duck at the moment, just to get a sense of how he takes this lap around here. Really leaps and bounds ahead of the rest of the field. Now, this is what we were saying could be the issue, is that he now has to get past Jason and Max Mestre. They're not going to fit for another 2 or 3 laps, I'm assuming. And you just don't want to be wasting the advantage of having those fresher, softer tyres. So while the undercut might have been a good idea, is it going to actually compromise him in the long run? Will Kieran get out ahead of him because of this? Because Kieran's got essentially clean air now. Yes, he's got a pack behind him. However, he doesn't have any competition. Jason, who was running very well at P4 at one point, now all the way down to P10. Now we're going to see now, do any drivers start pitting? Doesn't look like it, and this is what we were fearing. Sorry, Jason does indeed pit. Second driver to win today. Rob now up to P4. With Remco and P3 not too far ahead. Kieran has a nice little gap, so he has a chance to really push, and he is able to start pushing now. Get those lap times down. As Paul is just setting consistent 134s. What did he set last lap? 136. I think pitting prematurely here wasn't the best of strategies because you put yourself into a lot of traffic. Especially in track like this where it's not really overtaking. It's kind of like Hungary in some respects where it's just follow and you've got 1 or 2 opportunities all track long to get your overtake done. As East is going to go for it here though. Let's see a beautiful camera angle here. As Max Mestre is not letting this go though. And they're going to stay with each other here, racing along. Kieran into the pits now. Where's he going to come out? Rob stays out. Philip stays out. James stays out as well. Rob is into the 134s. So is Remco. Paul's still in the low 134s. That's great pace from him. 19 seconds is the gap now between himself and second. James also into the 134s. Aaron into the 134s. Great stuff from them. This is what I'm saying. The last lap he set at 135.3. The last lap 1.2 seconds quicker. So the gap is going to be much bigger now. And I think even Yeast might be in trouble for second place at this rate. If those drivers don't come in, which they should be soon, as Paul was going even faster, saying a purple sector 2. The league of his own at the moment, it must be said. Great driving. I'm up to P3 now at the moment. Remco up to P2. Obviously the strategy's become a bit split now as we're waiting for drivers to start entering the pits. Remco just sell the dummy to go into the pits there. Well, Rob is into the pits, so is Philip. Philip has started on the softs. Aaron in the pits as well with 2% fuel left. Oh my, he was cutting it tight. See, Mr. Nice hasn't got a whole lot of fuel left either. As we've also got Vax Mestra. Over 20 seconds is the gap, and we'll probably see Paul come into the pits. Well, we probably won't. Not probably. Definitely see Paul come into the pits at the end of this lap 13 of 23, and he's going to stick on the softs till the end of the race. Away he goes. I must be said, Remco's had a great renaissance these last few races. From being middle of the pack last season, now he's really punched his way up to the upper echelon of Tier 1. Great stuff from them. And we do see Remco's 1% back tyre or fuel left. Paul into the pits, and the gap very, very similar. It hasn't really changed all that much. So 3 is actually less now, amazingly. So he's into the low 133s, but he got some clean areas. Finally able to set a quick lap. But it's going to be. It's not going to be enough unless there's a big wobble here. I think actually Paul is after having a big wobble there. And now less than 1 second is the difference, and we are going to have a race on our hands here, ladies and gentlemen. Go. Now just over 1 second is the gap. And if Yeast can get into the slipstream and stay with him for this tricky sector of the track, we have a chance in a few laps time. Oh, he hits the grass there, but maybe that's desync, I can't really tell. Actually no, it looks like he did hit the grass. Does he get a better exit? It looks like he does get a better exit than Paul there, that final corner. Paul trying to break the slipstream as best he can. Less than a second now is the difference. It was 5 seconds at one point now as we enter lap 15 of 23. There's just a couple of tenths. And this is really where you earn your bread. If you can handle that pressure, just having someone behind you, that's where mistakes happen, that's where mistakes are made. See a bit of desync in the lobby. over 6. Paul says the fastest sector 1 of the race. And he had his worst lap of the race there. Last lap at 138. East at 133, so that's where all the gap came. It was brought down in 1 lap. Crazy, crazy stuff here. This is just flying down those soft tires. Still staying with Paul. Paul's keeping pace. Just doing a race of their own at the moment. Kieran down in 4th, Remco in 3rd, James Robin 6th, Philip in 7th, Aaron in 8th. And who's going to get the better exit here? And it looks like Macaulay has indeed done so. He's rapidly gaining. Is he going to make a move into turn 1? It's less than 3/10 in it. He's going to have the inside line. Is he going to make the move? He is going to make it. But Paul is staying with him. He's going to have the inside line into turn 2 now. Keeps the position just about for this lap. Very, very close there, but it's not done and dusted yet. This is great to watch, ladies and gentlemen. Keeping it very, very clean here, these two. Paul just in that NSX able just to build a bit more of a gap in this part of the track, which is what he needs to do if he wants to keep the position. And that last lap was a 134.1. East was a 133.6, so he had half a second that last lap. Slipstream really coming into effect here, really helping him down those long straights. You can just see it as Paul sets a purple sector 2 again. And he's really pushing now. You can see him really putting everything into this to hold this position. And as we've got only a few laps to go, just 7 laps to go here. Yeast is a bit of a wobble there at the final corner. You see, he's still gaining just because of how powerful that slipstream is. Less than a second to go. There's going to be no move there. Further down the field, Remco leading this pack of Remco, Kieran, James, and Rob Philip off in the distance. The battle for P3 is well and thoroughly on, though. As most drivers start against 134s, Remco with the fastest lap of the race at 133.5. As Kieran now and James looking to go into a bit of action. Just check back up the further up the field. It's back to 1 second now. And it's just half a second is the difference now. Again, they're both sticking with each other here. Not a whole lot to separate them as G7 is the fastest lap of the race. That last lap, the 133.230. Remco getting away from this pack here as he's going even faster. Only 300s off the fastest lap of the race. He is gaining. He's gaining very rapidly with on those softs. I don't think there's enough time left in this race for him to make a move or anything, but This is a yellow flag further down the field. Has someone come off? We do have a lap driver, Peter Slush, and he's going to nicely get out of the way. Fair play to him. Now Paul, 1.9 seconds clear. Remco, three and a bit seconds clear of the rest of the pack. James up to fourth now after disastrous lap 1. Kieran and Rob in close pursuit. Away to back Aaron as well. Average in lap 19 of 23 with 5 laps to go. I think it is, or 4 laps, whatever it is. 19, 20, 21, 22. Yeah, 5 laps to go. And Paul Hutchinson has one hand on the maximum points here. His other hand better be on the steering wheel, because he's got to navigate these next few minutes. Try and claim victory in round 4 and cement his whole challenge. Two-time defending champ Macaulay Beard not giving this up though, waiting to pounce on any opportunity or any mistake. Remco now developing a nice healthy gap of 4 seconds. James not building a nice healthy gap though. Now the gap, 1.8 seconds. It seems like these two have settled down after some intense battling at one point. Sardegna seems to be a bit higher on Macaulay's car, 0.8248. 132s, no other driver into the 132s yet. But that may change with 4 laps to go. Philip very close to the back of Rob here. Now setting a purple sector 2. It just seems that NSX just got a lot better speed under braking in the slow speed corners. And then the straights, it just seems that the GT1 has more top speed. Definitely. Just over a second is the gap. Still 4 seconds from Remco. James has kind of pulled away from Kieran here. Remco, who at one point was catching, I think he's just kind of burned through his tyres a bit too much. And Peter's going to have blue flags here yet again. There's Diogo has joined the room. Good evening to you, sir. Probably going to come in and grab the standings and grab a replay. After an impressive victory in Tier 2 for Diogo, beating Bestinger João Santos, who had an amazing qualifying in his CLK. see Remco again catching ever so slightly in this middle sector of the track. Just probably going to give it all back. And it's just 2 laps to go now, and the gap's still over a second. And there looks to be no significant changes happening further down the track. James Wiggins had a good result here, I think, after that disastrous lap 1 incident. I think recovering up to P4, potentially P3 is going to be, I think he's going to be happy with that, or at least satisfied with that, should we say. As we start the final lap now, and still just over a second is the delta between P1 and P2. Paul just finally passing around sector 1 for one last time. Just has to keep the car on the track. No heroics at this point. These two have been in a league of their own all day here, must be said. They're both going to take away, I think, as many points as they could have managed here. Great stuff from the two of them. However, Paul's a bit of a bad sector 2 there, and Geese is gaining on him. This isn't over just yet. Do we see any heroics towards the end of this race? As Geese sets a purple sector 2, he's over a 10th up in his time. And it's been an absolute dominating masterclass from Paul. He had 1 or 2 scares, but he's going to cross the line in P1. It's going to be Paul Hutchinson P1, Macaulay Beard in P2. Remco Sweets will take P3 after a stellar drive from them. He's doing a bit of weaving for the fans. James Wiggins will take P4. Kieran Purnell in P5, Robin P6, Philip P7, and Jason Booner in P8, Vax Mestra in P9, Aaron Hyland across the track in P10, Racer or Waster in P11, Mr. Nice will finish in P12, and Cian Hodgson will finish in P13. That's going to be all she wrote, folks. As that is another week in GT7 in the books. Next week we are in Deep Forest in the GR3 cars for 20 laps. As we see the business duck, our leader. So just a final confirmation: Business Duck P1, Yeast P2, Remco P3, James Wiggins in P4, Kieran, Rob, Philip, Jason, Vax, and Aaron round out our top 10. Racer, Waster, Mr. Nice, Cian Hodgson, and Peter Slush round out the rest of the grid. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll catch you again next week.